Welcome to Imaginary Intro, a study of complex numbers. Brought to you by mathrhythm.com. Today we're going to take a look at complex conjugates. For example, how would you solve a problem such as this? Well, first of all, we would go ahead and combine these two elements so that they're over one denominator. So what do we do with this problem now? Well, we multiply it by the complex conjugate. But what is a complex conjugate? Turns out that a complex conjugate is really nothing more than a fancy way of writing the number 1. We simply divide some value by itself, which is in fact the number 1. Now that you've created your number 1, let's go ahead and multiply that by our original problem. Recall that when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply numerator to numerator, denominator to denominator, straight across. In this case, we're going to have to FOIL. After expanding by FOILing, we need to combine like terms. We'll note that in the numerator, we have a 2i and a 5i that we can combine, giving us a 7i. In the denominator, we have a negative 2i and a positive 2i that will effectively cancel one another out, giving us a 0, thus allowing us to have simply a 4 and an I squared in our denominator. Now, using the identity that an I squared is simply a negative 1, we get the following. At this point, we can lose the parentheses, combine our signs, and combine like terms. Now we have accomplished a few things. We have rid ourselves of all of the I squared terms. We have also removed the complex part from the denominator. It is at this point that we notice this looks an awful lot like standard form of a plus bi. If we separate this into two separate terms, we find in fact we do have standard form, with a equaling 9/5 and b equaling 7/5.
If you've enjoyed this video, or at least found it helpful, you can find more videos like it at mathrhythm.com.